the snow that never forgets. I still remember the exact moment I decided to come to Shiramine. It was a drizzling afternoon in Tokyo, rain tapping against the window of my empty apartment like impatient fingers. I sat staring at old photos of Hana on my laptop screen, her laughing in that red winter coat, snowflakes caught in her dark hair, the Alps of Japan rising behind her like silent guardians. 2 years earlier, the snow had taken her from me. An avalanche, sudden and merciless. I had survived because I shoved her out of its path. I lived, and that guilt has never left me. It sits in my chest like a second lens in my camera bag, heavy, always there. My name is Kawamura Ren, 34 years old, freelance landscape photographer, once known for capturing the most beautiful winters in the world for travel magazines. After Hana died, everything lost meaning. Cherry blossoms, sunsets over the sea, I couldn't bear them anymore. I only wanted snow. Snow had killed her. Snow was the only thing left that made me feel close to her. Shiramine was perfect. A tiny village in Aomori Prefecture, cut off by mountains and endless white. People called it the village of eternal snow. Rare articles online described it as a geological anomaly. Snow that never melts, even in summer. Temperatures never drop low enough to freeze water, yet the snow lies thick and untouched, year after year. No tourists anymore, no highways. Cell signal flickers like a dying candle. Internet is a myth. Isolation complete. I thought it was the place to escape my guilt. I was wrong. The last bus dropped me at the village edge, late one November afternoon. The driver didn't get out. He just opened the door, gave me a blank look through the rearview mirror, and drove off the moment my boots hit the snow. The road into the village was narrow, flanked by snow-laden pines. My footsteps crunched loudly, the only sound in the world. The only lit building was the guest house run by the village head, Mr. Sato. He was old, backbent, but his eyes were strangely bright. He bowed slightly as I entered. Kawamura-san, welcome to Shiramine. Your room is ready. Thank you. I'm here to photograph the eternal snow. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. The snow here is very patient. It waits for everyone. I gave a polite laugh, assuming it was local superstition. He handed me the key to a room on the second floor. Simple, tatami mats, low table, window overlooking the main path leading into the forest. I unpacked Canon R524 to 70mm lens, carbon tripod, then stepped outside to test the light. That's when I saw the first footprints. They started right in front of the guest house, porch small, delicate, perfectly preserved. Women's boots, size around 23 centimeters. The sole pattern was tiny stars. I knew those stars. They were from Hana's favorite winter boots. She used to say the stars helped her find her way home in the snow. I froze. The snow around them was untouched. No wind had blurred the edges. No new flakes had fallen over them. Yet they looked fresh, as if made minutes ago. I followed them a few steps. They didn't waver. No sign of turning back. They just continued straight into the forest. I raised my camera and took several shots. The late afternoon light filtered through the pines, making the snow glow from within. When I checked the LCD screen, my heart skipped. No footprints, just smooth, flawless snow. I looked through the viewfinder again. The prints were still there in reality, but the camera refused to see them. I wiped the lens, swapped memory cards, shot again. Same result. I told myself it was a technical glitch, sensor dust, reflection, something. I went back inside, trying not to dwell on it. That first night, I dreamed of Hana. She stood in the snow, wearing her red coat, hair loose. She smiled at me, but her lips didn't move. Then she turned and walked into the trees. I called her name, but the snow swallowed the sound. I tried to run after her, but every step sank deeper, as if the snow were pulling me under. I woke at 3 a.m., drenched in sweat, despite the freezing room. On the window glass was a thin layer of frost, and etched into it by some invisible finger was a single small footprint. The next morning I met Akio. She lived in the last house before the forest, a small wooden cabin half buried in snow. She was sweeping the porch, an endless task, since fresh snow fell the moment she cleared it. She looked up as I approached. Her face was calm, almost serene, but her eyes looked tired, as if they had seen too much. "You're the photographer," she said. Not a question. "Yes, Kawamura Ren, Akio. No family name. Don't stay too long." "Why not?" She glanced toward the forest. "The snow here doesn't hold cold. It holds memories." I gave an awkward smile. "I'm just here to take pictures. There are things that don't like being photographed." She turned and went inside, closing the door softly. I spent the day wandering the village, Shiramine was smaller than I expected, maybe 30 houses, most of them dark and shuttered. No children playing, no dogs barking, no laughter, only the soft hiss of falling snow, constant, like someone whispering without pause. I spoke to a few villagers. They were polite but distant. When I asked how many people lived here, the answers were always vague. Enough, an old woman said, eyes on the ground. As always, an old man muttered when I pressed Mr. Sato. Mr. Soto, when I asked directly, smiled thinly. We don't count. Counting invites absence. I began noticing more footprints. They appeared everywhere. Small, hesitant ones like a child's. Heavy, dragging ones like an old person's. All leading into the forest. None coming back. All sharp-edged, as if freshly made, even though snow had fallen all night. I tried photographing them again. Same problem. The camera captured only perfect snow, but through the live viewfinder, the prints were crystal clear, as if the act of capturing erased them. On the third evening, I returned to Akio's house. She was sitting on the ingawa, drinking tea, staring into the trees. The oil lamp flickered across her face. Why doesn't my camera see the footprints? I asked. She wasn't surprised. Because they aren't here for you to keep. They're here for the snow to remember. I don't understand. It means if you stop trying to own the past. A chill ran down my spine, unrelated to the temperature. What are you saying? She set her cup down. People come here when they can't let go. The snow knows. It keeps their steps. The longer you linger on what was, the deeper you sink. Eventually, the body follows the memory. I forced a laugh. You're saying the snow eats people? No, it keeps them forever. I left after that. Told myself she was crazy, lonely, something. But that night, reviewing photos on my laptop, I saw something new. In a wide shot of the forest edge, behind my own footprints, which the camera could see because they were fresh, there was another set, faint but unmistakable. Women's boots, size 23 centimeters, star pattern soles. I zoomed in. My heart hammered. Those were Hannah's boots. Impossible. She was dead, cremated, ashes scattered at sea. Yet there they were, in my photo, following me like a shadow. At 2 a.m., I went outside with my flashlight. My own footprints from earlier were still sharp. Behind them, the smaller ones, fresh, as if made minutes ago. I followed them. They led into the forest. Trees closed around me. Snow swallowed every sound. My flashlight beam seemed shorter, weaker. After 15 minutes or so, the prints stopped. In the middle of nowhere, I stood there, breathing hard. Then I heard a soft crunching behind me. I spun around. Nothing but my own footprints were being filled in, not by new snow. The snow itself moved, like liquid, flowing into the depressions I had left, erasing me step by step. I ran back. The guest house lights were faint in the distance. When I reached the road, my footprints had vanished completely, as if I had never been there. The days after blurred together. I tried to leave. The road was blocked by fresh snow. No plow, no bus, cell signal dead. Mr. Sato said calmly, the snow decides when you go. I stayed in my room, editing photos, searching for logic. In every landscape shot, the following footprints grew clearer, sometimes closer, sometimes branching off, as if Hannah had paused to look at something. I began seeing her in reflections. In the night window, a figure behind me. When I turned, the room was empty. I dreamed of her every night. She came closer. She reached out. Her fingers were cold, made of snow. She whispered, "Ren, I'm still here." I woke with frost on my skin inside the sealed room. I decided to find proof. I entered the abandoned houses, one at the end of the village, door ajar. Inside, dust and drifting snow on the tatami. On the walls, dozens of old family photos, weddings, children laughing, elders on porches, and one that stopped my breath. My wedding photo with Hannah, taken in Kyoto under cherry blossoms, but the angle was wrong. It was shot from behind us, from a place no one could have stood. The frame was new, no dust. On the floor in front of it, 2 sets of footprints, one mine, one hers, leading into the house. No prints leaving. I backed away, bumping the wall. Outside, snow fell thicker. I ran to Akio's. She wasn't there, but on her porch, a single set of footprints, leading inside and stopping in the middle of the room. I called her name. No answer. I stepped in. The house was empty, but on the table, a photograph of me standing in the forest last night. From behind, my back to the camera, and behind me, Hannah, reaching out. I dropped it. The photo shattered, but the image stayed burned into my mind. I left the house. The village was silent. No lights in windows. No smoke from chimneys. I walked to the main road. My car was gone, buried. I looked down at my feet. My footprints were being filled in behind me. Slowly, inevitable. I can still hear the snow falling. It is patient, it remembers, and it is waiting for me to stop running, because when I stop, I will become part of it forever. I'm writing this in my notebook, in the dark guesthouse room. Laptop battery almost gone. The screen light is the last thing I see. The footprints behind me are getting closer. I won't turn round. I know she's there, and this time, I don't want to run anymore. The snow is calling my name, and I am about to answer.